Hello and welcome to the big story, and you are watching CVR News English special bulletin, and today's topic is the nature's fury. In the last fortnight, the world has faced a series of devastating natural disasters that highlight both the growing unpredictability of our climate and urgent need for better preparedness. Be it Cyclone Monta of Andhra Pradesh to the Jamaican hurricane and Philippines series of disasters to Brazil's tornado, and finally today's Japan's earthquake. This episode brings to you what are the lessons that taught and how to prepare further. And this is the big story of the day. Starting with Cyclone Monta in India, in the state of Andhra Pradesh, this severe tropical storm made landfall along Andhra Pradesh coast near Kakinada on the night of October 28, 29, 2025, bringing the winds exceeding 100 km per hour and torrential rainfall. It affected severely even the neighboring state of Telangana. It caused excessive flooding in coastal districts such as Konaseema and East Godavari and damaging crops, homes and infrastructure. Early estimates place the total damages around 53 billion US rupees, and since then the world has seen several natural disasters that led to loss of hundreds of lives and billions of dollars of property loss. Of course, Monta has not affected so many lives, but yet the others did. Let's watch a detailed report on this.
A series of devastating natural disasters struck across Asia and South America, underscoring the growing intensity of climate-related and geological events. In Southeast Asia, Typhoon Kalamagi, locally known as Typhoon Uwan, ravaged the Philippines and Vietnam. The storm made landfall in the central Philippines, unleashing torrential rains and winds exceeding 180 km per hour. Cebu province bore the brunt, with over 200 fatalities and more than 100 people reported missing. Entire communities were submerged and infrastructure was crippled. As Kalamagi moved westward, it battered Vietnam's central highlands, killing at least 5 people and damaging homes and crops. Meteorologists attributed the typhoon's strength to unusually warm oceanal temperatures, a consequence of climate change, and warned that such superstorms may become more frequent in the region. Meanwhile, in South America, a rare and violent tornado tore through Paraná state in southern Brazil. Particularly devastating the town of Rio Bonito do Iguaçu, with wind speeds reaching up to 250 km per hour. The homeless and prompted the Brazilian government to declare a state of emergency. Experts link the tornado to unstable atmospheric conditions fueled by unseasonal heat and shifting wind patterns, again highlighting the unpredictable nature of extreme weather in a warming world. In East Asia, Japan experienced a magnitude of 6.7 earthquake off the coast of Iwate Prefecture. Though no major casualties were reported, the quake triggered a tsunami advisory and caused temporary disruptions to transportation and power systems. The shallow depth of the quake intensified surface shaking, prompting evacuations in coastal areas. Seismologists noted that the quake was part of ongoing tectonic activity along the Pacific Plate boundary, one of the most seismically active zones on Earth. Japan's preparedness and early warning systems helped mitigate the impact, but the event served as a reminder of the country's vulnerability to larger seismic threats, such as the anticipated Nankai through megaquake. These disasters collectively reflect a troubling global trend, the increasing frequency and severity of natural calamities driven by both climate change and tectonic volatility. Scientists warn that Southeast Asia may face additional typhoons before the year ends, while South America could see more flash floods and heat waves in early 2026. Japan and other nations along the Pacific Ring of Fire remain on high alert for seismic swamps and potential tsunamis. As the planet warms and weather patterns grow more erratic, the need for resilient infrastructure, early warning systems, and international cooperation on disaster preparedness has never been more urgent. In the Atlantic, Hurricane Melissa left a trail of destruction across the Caribbean, making landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5 storm. Melissa brought winds exceeding 185 miles per hour, killing at least 72 people and displacing thousands. The hurricane also battered Cuba and Haiti, where infrastructure damage and flooding compounded humanitarian challenges. Relief efforts were hampered by widespread power outages and blocked roads, leading international agencies to mobilize emergency aid and supplies. Meteorologists linked Melissa's intensity to elevated sea surface temperatures, a clear consequence of global warming. Meanwhile, the Philippines experienced a series of moderate earthquakes, including a magnitude 4.7 tremor in Pangasinan. Including a magnitude 4.7 tremor in Pangasinan and a 4.9 quake in Davao Occidental earlier in the week. These events were part of ongoing tectonic activity along the Philippine Fault Zone, one of the most seismically active regions in Southeast Asia. Although no major damage was reported, the quake served as a stark reminder of the country's vulnerability to larger seismic events. Authorities urge residents to remain vigilant and reinforce the importance of earthquake preparedness. Together with the typhoon in Southeast Asia, the tornado in Brazil, and the earthquake off Japan's coast, these disasters paint a sobering picture of a world increasingly shaped by extreme natural forces. Scientists warn that climate change is intensifying hurricanes and tornadoes, while tectonic stress continues to trigger earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Looking ahead, Southeast Asia may face additional typhoons before year end. The Pacific Ring of Fire remains at high risk for seismic swamps, and South America could see more flash floods and heat waves in nearly 2026. Global preparedness, resilient infrastructure, and early warning systems are more critical than ever in the face of these mounting threats.
Hurricane Melissa wreaked havoc across the Caribbean and parts of Atlantic, forming in late October 2025. Melissa rapidly intensified into a Category 5 hurricane, striking Jamaica on October 28 with ferocious winds up to 298 kmph and destroyed infrastructure, left more than 50 people dead. Economic losses were estimated at up to 52 billion US dollars across Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, and Dominican Republic. For India, Hurricane Melissa serves as a sobering reminder that stronger, more unpredictable cyclones could strike both Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. But as we all know, Bay of Bengal is more vulnerable, and this urging the country to upgrade forecasting models, strengthen coastal defenses, and invest in disaster risk financial resilient infrastructure. Further east, Typhoon Kalmegi struck the Philippines on November 4, 2025 before moving across the South China Sea and making landfall in Vietnam on November 6th. With sustained winds exceeding 130 km per hour, Kalmegi caused extensive flooding, mass evacuations, and power outages that affected over 1 million households. In Philippines, more than 500,000 people were displaced, and critical infrastructure suffered severe damage. Vietnam, already struggling with previous typhoon impacts, faced renewed flooding and agricultural loss. The recurring nature of such storms is distressing local disaster management systems. For India, which shares the same regional weather patterns, these events underline the need for enhanced cross-border early warning cooperation, better flood management, and the adoption of multi-hazard response strategies that account for overlapping events such as cyclones, floods, and landslides. In Brazil, unexpected tornado in Brazil's Paraná state on November 7, 2025 shocked the meteorologists and residents alike. The EF3 rated tornado struck the small town of Rio Bonito do Iguacu, the winds approaching 250 km per hour, killing 6 people and injuring hundreds. Nearly 90% of the town's buildings were completely destroyed, leaving thousands homeless. Tornadoes of this strength are extremely rare in Brazil, showing how shifting climate patterns are expanding high-risk zones into new regions. The Brazilian government declared the state of emergency and launched rapid relief operations. For India, this event is a warning that severe windstorms could become more frequent even outside traditional cyclone zones. Tornado-like phenomena have occasionally struck parts of eastern and northeastern India, suggesting the need for the improved radar monitoring, stricter construction standards, and community-based training in emergency response.
Well, in the last 30 or 40 years, we haven't seen a tornado with this force. We're talking about a level 3 tornado, with winds above 250 kilometers per hour. That means it's difficult for any house, or even any commercial building, to remain standing. We've already started mobilizing all the teams, from the interior of the state and also from the capital, with all the necessary infrastructure to support, initially, the families who were left homeless, including some victims who have emerged. I'm going to declare a state of public calamity because that helps us to act more quickly, including in the reconstruction of the cities.
And the latest, on November 9, 2025, Japan experienced a strong offshore earthquake measuring at a magnitude of 6.9 near Iwate Prefecture. The quake triggered a brief tsunami advisory with minor waves recorded along the coast. Fortunately, there were no reports of major damage or casualties, a testament to Japan's advanced seismic engineering and early warning systems. Remember that 6.9 is more far beyond imagination if that happens in India, because whether it is the Gujarat earthquake in the year of the early millennium or the Maharashtra earthquake, they are not as worse as the present or the today's Japan earthquake. But we do not forget, any Indian cannot forget the devastation that has happened in Gujarat and Latur, Maharashtra. The quick response of the Japan Meteorological Agency and the population preparedness prevented the chaos, but unfortunately that's not the case with India. For India, where several regions lie in the seismic zones, including Himalayas and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, this serves as a crucial reminder of the importance of enforcing earthquake-resistant building codes, public drills, and tsunami alert systems along vulnerable coastlines. These disasters collectively reveal a troubling pattern. Natural hazards are not only increasing in intensity but also striking in unexpected ways. From hurricanes and cyclones to earthquakes and tornadoes, no region is fully immune. Around the world, countries are investing in better forecasting tools, resilient infrastructure, and adaptive funding. Yet the speed of climate-related change continues to outpace preparedness. Rapid intensification, storms like Hurricane Melissa and rare phenomena like Brazil tornado show that traditional models of disaster prediction need to evolve. Building resilience requires global cooperation, advanced research, and inclusive local participation. Communities must be empowered with knowledge through early warning systems, evacuation, training, and risk communication strategies so that people can respond effectively when disasters strike.
Einer der aktivsten Vulkane
For India, the upcoming year through 2026 will be critical and strengthening national and regional resilience. The country's eastern coastline remains vulnerable to cyclones, while the Himalayan and northeastern belts face a rising earthquake and flood risks. Coastal, agricultural, and urban areas are in the front lines of climate impact. Remedies must include expanding mangrove plantations, enforcing disaster resistant building codes, establishing the micro insurance for farmers, and improving drainage and flood protection infrastructure. Nationwide awareness campaigns are equally vital. Citizens need to know how to prepare emergency kits, follow official alerts, and assist vulnerable groups during crisis. Investing in research, data sharing, and regional collaboration with neighboring countries will also strengthen India's disaster management capacity.